ready to start. So good morning. My name is Ana Ferreras. I am the SNAP nutritionist from the Hispanic Health Council. And I have my coworker, Veronica.
Hi, everyone. My name is Veronica. I'm the nutritionist for the PANA SNAP-Ed program at the Hispanic Health Council.
So welcome back to Eating Smart, Being Active. In our last lesson, we learned about why calcium is important and what food contains calcium. We also learned about how physical activity and food high in calcium can help us to build and maintain strong bones.
Yes, so last week we learned how to build strong bones. So I just want to hear what we're all doing this week to keep our bones strong. What are we eating? What kind of physical activity are we doing? The weather is getting really nice out over here in the Northeast, so.
Okay, for example, me, I like to do I'm doing my walkings. What about you? Share with us what kind of activity are you doing?
I started walking now too, outside. It's gorgeous.
Excellent. Yes.
After
Now the weather is getting really, really good.
Yes.
Okay, so remember that we are going to set goals, okay, each week related to we have learned, and some weeks you will achieve your goals and other you may not. But what is important? To keep trying and trying until you reach your goal, okay? So welcome one more time. Okay, so we are going to spend some time today learning how to make healthier food and drink choices, both at home and when eating out. Okay, and we are going to focus on how to choose food with less salt, with less sugar, and with less fat. So let's get started. For example, the common categories of fat. Not all fat are the same. Let's start talking about fat. Not all fat are the same. The common categories of fat are monounsaturated fat, polyunsaturated fat, saturated fat, and trans fat. And the difference in all the types of fat are their chemical structure and how they act in our body. That's the difference, okay? So the important thing to remember is that some fat are better for health than others.
And we have monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats. And these are better for our health than saturated fats and trans fats. So unsaturated fats are liquid at room temperature, and we want to choose them often when using fats. Some examples of monounsaturated fats are canola oil, peanut oil, olive oil, and vegetable oil. And foods with monounsaturated fats are avocados, peanut butter, and many nuts and seeds.
Oh, yes. Right there, as you see in the table, the polyunsaturated fat, you can find them in corn oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, sesame oil, soybean oil, and also vegetable oil. So food with polyunsaturated fat includes salmon, mackerel, herring, trout, walnut, as well sunflower seeds, flaxseed, as well tofu and soybeans.
And saturated fats can increase the risk for heart disease, and these fats are usually solid at room temperature. Saturated fats may also be called solid fats. We want to limit foods that are high in saturated fat. So saturated fats are found in things like butter, lard, coconut oil, palm oil, and cocoa butter. Foods high in saturated fats include meats like bacon, sausage, salami, hot dogs, and fatty beef. We also have whole fat dairy products like whole milk, whole fat yogurt, cream, and cheeses made with whole milk. And the skin of chicken and poultry also is high in saturated fat, and baked goods such as fried foods containing palm oil and coconut oil are high in saturated fat.
Yes, and let me tell you something, trans fat. Trans fat also increase the risk for heart disease, okay? Trans fat are naturally found in a small amount in some meat and dairy products as well. So, however, most trans fat are present in processed food and you can note it in the label, okay, in the food label. It is important to understand that even if the food say 0 grams of trans fat, there may be a small amount present in the food, okay? So check the ingredients list. Look for the ingredient list in the food label and look for the word hydrogenated. That's the word that you have to look for. If you find the word hydrogenated, which it is exactly as it is doing hydrogenation process, okay? In the ingredient list, if you find that word, that means that there is trans fat in your food. So avoid this kind of fat as much as possible. Where you also you have to look for fully hydrogenated oil. You have to look for the word hydrogenated oil, and you have to look for partially hydrogenated oil, and also the word shortening. The shortening also as well. It is a kind of trans fat. Also, you have to notice that all this food that contain trans fat, for example, as you can see here, are commercially made baked goods like many cakes, cookies, pie crust, chips, fried food, also refrigerated pre-made dough, also like canned biscuits and cinnamon rolls, frozen pizza, creamer, and margarine. So remember to check your the ingredient list in the food label, every food that you are going to buy.
Yes. So why is it important that we limit our fat? So most of us eat more fat than we actually need. Eating foods with too much fat increases our risk for diabetes, heart disease, and some cancers, and it can also lead to unhealthy weight gain. So choose healthier fats like the ones that I listed before, such as poly and monounsaturated fats. And most of the fat in our diet comes from foods like the fats that we use in cooking, such as oil, lard, beef or pork fat, fatback, salt pork, and bacon or sausage grease. We also have fats that are added to foods such as butter, margarine, sour cream, mayonnaise, salad dressing, gravy, and cream sauces. Cheese is also a source of fat. We also get our fat from fatty meats such as hamburgers, many steaks and chops, ribs, bacon, hot dogs, sausage, and many luncheon meats. Also, whole milk and yogurt made with whole milk have a lot of fat. And pastries, cakes, cookies, pies, ice cream, and frozen desserts are also on that list. Crackers, chips, and other snack foods, fried foods, as well as most of the food that we get from fast food restaurants.
Oh, yes. And some ways also to reduce fat in our diet, for example, are like choose lower fat food. For example, instead of fried food, choose a salad or a small fruit as well. Choose fish, poultry without the skin, and lean meat. For example, the leanest cut of any meat have round or loin in the description. So trim visible fat off of the meat and choose grilled or baked food instead of fried food. Also choose dairy food that are labeled low fat or fat free. Okay.
Yep, and some ways that we can reduce our fat intake when we go out to eat are things like we want to order items without the special sauces or mayonnaise or gravy. We also want to choose smaller sizes of sandwiches, sides, and drinks. We also want to choose fruit or a green salad instead of fries. And when you order a salad, ask for the salad dressing on the side so you can use less of it.
Yes, very important. Now you can see that table. Those are also some tips, some ways that how you can reduce fat. For example, instead of double bacon cheeseburger with mayo, you can choose a single hamburger without ketchup. Instead of large fries, you can choose a small fries, a fruit or a green salad. Instead of fried chicken, you can choose a bake or grill without skin. Instead of whole milk, you can choose water, reduced fat, low fat, or skim milk.
And alternatives for chocolate milkshake, you can have water, unsweetened tea, reduced fat, low fat, or skim milk. Instead of bacon and eggs, we can choose eggs with a side of fruit and vegetables like avocados or tomatoes. Instead of cake and ice cream, we can choose fruit, granola, low-fat or fat-free vanilla yogurt to make a parfait. Or we can, instead of potato chips, we can choose baked potato chips or pretzels.
Oh, yes, very, very important. And remember, based on a 2000 calorie diet, we should eat no more than 65 grams of total fat per day. Fast food can be tasty, of course, and convenient, but many fast food are really, really high in fat. So most restaurants have made a nutritious, have made possible that you read the nutrition information. So all you need to do is to ask them, okay, before buying any food.
Now we're going to talk about sugar. So sugar is high in calories and has very little or no nutrients. Foods and drinks that are high in sugar can cause our tooth decay, cavities, and even weight gain. A diet high in sugar also increases the risk of heart disease and diabetes. So decreasing foods and drinks high in sugar can help us achieve and or maintain a healthy weight. Added sugar is sugar that is added to foods during cooking and processing. Remember, it is not the sugar that naturally occurs in things like fruit and milk. Flavored yogurt is an example of a food with added sugar. So if you see the yogurts that are labeled as cheesecake yogurt, those have added sugars in it.
And we should all try to get no more than 10% of calories from added sugar, okay? For example, 10% of calories in a 2000 calorie diet will be like 200 calories. And let me give you tips. For example, a 12-ounce can of soda have like 150 calories. So by drinking a can of soda, you're already gonna get almost all the 10% that you need for the day of added sugar, and you don't even need it. That's the maximum, that's the maximum amount from added sugar that we should limit. Okay, so let's look for the food label. And if you look in the nutrition fact label, sugar is listed on the total carbohydrate. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but you look in your nutrition fact label, total carbohydrate, you're gonna find sugar list, okay? And also you're gonna find on the total carbohydrate dietary fiber list. And also after that, you're gonna find added sugar, okay? Some food like fruit and dairy have naturally occurring sugars. So that type of sugar will be under sugars, okay? On the label. So some sugar that is added during processing, they're gonna be listed under added sugar in the label. So added sugar are the ones that we want to try to limit, to reduce in our diet. Remember, try to reduce added sugar. The new label is, you're gonna find it. Okay.
Wow, Anna, I'm so surprised about the soda.
Yes. Imagine people that drink like 2 cans of soda per day, so too much soft drinks. This is too much added sugar in our diet, and it is a risk, as we mentioned it, for diabetes, heart diseases.
Right. So we always want to read the nutrition facts label, and we want to choose foods that are low in sugar and added sugar. In the spring of 2016, a new version of the nutrition facts label was released. It's important to know that you'll see both the old and the new versions of the label at the grocery stores until the summer of 2018. So now 2021, we should be seeing the new label at our grocery store. The old nutrition label does not separate added sugar from natural sugar. So you'll be able to see that. You'll know that it's an old label if it doesn't separate it, but the new label does. So you'll see added sugar under sugars.
And now let's talk about soft drinks. Okay, soft drink, fruit drinks, sweetened coffee and tea drinks, and other sweetened drinks contain a lot of added sugar. Okay, so for example, a 12 fluid ounces is the standard serving size for beverage on the nutrition fact label, but very seldom are sugar sweetened beverage sold in this size. So larger cups and bottles hold multiple cups and multiple servings. So 12 fluid ounces in a soft drink has about like 10 teaspoons of sugar.
Wow. So also listen to this. 16 fluid ounces of sweetened tea has about 13 teaspoons of sugar. And 20 fluid ounces of regular soft drink has about 17 teaspoons of sugar.
Wow, incredible. And let me tell you, if you're gonna buy a 2 liters, have like 53 teaspoons of sugar. What do you think about this amount of sugar in the soft drinks?
That is a lot of sugar.
Anyone want to share with us in the chat? Share with us, what do you think about all that amount of sugar in your soda or any other soft drinks?
Have any of you ever seen the sugar? Like we have the picture here on the slide and we actually get to see how much sugar is in the soda. So what
Yes.
does that tell you all when you look at that picture? What do
So
you think?
feel free to share with us. And let me tell you, right there in the screen, you can see the math. You can do the math. For example, that is a 20-ounce Coke. It has 66 grams of sugar. If you divide it by 4, which is the amount in a teaspoon, you're gonna find out that it has 17 teaspoons of sugar. Okay, that's a lot.
It is a lot. Other beverages that are not soda, we have like sports drinks, energy drinks, sweetened coffee, and tea drinks, and fortified waters. They can also be high in sugar. So be sure to read the nutrition facts label. Do any of you have any questions about the sugar in our foods? And, keep commenting on what we just talked about.
Yes, any question, please feel free to write it down. And also we can answer you back later as well, okay? But any question, do it. So let's talk about something very important. We have to choose water more often. So water has no sugar, no calories. Try to increase the amount of water you drink each day and limit. Try to reduce sugary drinks. So some people prefer to drink water very cold, while others like it at room temperature. And some people do not like the taste of water. So there are some things that we can do to change the flavor of the water to make it more appealing, like making homemade flavored water, for example.
Yeah, Anna, can you tell me more? What do you add to your water so it tastes, more refreshing?
For example, you can add pieces of strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
And what about you?
I like to add some lemon or mint leaves into my water. Tastes
Yes,
really
and
sweet.
that's really good. Also, we can flavor salsa water, which doesn't have sugar, but be sure to read the nutrition fact label. Salsa water, you can add some mint leaf as well. It's gonna taste like a soda, but without what? Without sugar. You can add some kiwi, pieces of kiwi, cucumber, pineapple grapes as well. That's some ways, we can flavor the water or salsa water.
I want some flavored water right now.
Uh-huh.
So other ways that we can reduce our sugar intake. So in addition to some of the beverages that we drink, many foods are high in sugar. So here are some ways that we can reduce how much sugar we eat and we drink. So we want to choose water often, like Anna said before. We also want to eat less candy, less cakes, cookies, pastries, and pies. We also want to eat less ice cream, sherbet, and flavored yogurt. We also want to decrease the amount of sugar that we use in our cooking. And we want to choose fruit for our dessert.
Excellent. Now let's talk about salt. Why it is important to reduce or to limit salt. Let me tell you that the reason we should limit salt is because it contains sodium, okay? And too much sodium may increase the risk for high blood pressure and heart diseases as well. And the health expert recommend that most of adults get no more than 2300 milligram per day. 2300 milligrams is the same as 1 teaspoon of table salt for the whole day in all your meals and snacks. That's the amount that you need for the whole day, 1 teaspoon. Okay,
Wow.
so it is very important.
Yes. And so when choosing our foods, when choosing foods that are low in sodium, we want to read the nutrition facts label. Most sodium in our diet comes from foods that are from fast food restaurants and processed foods. And many packaged and processed foods, such as soups, chicken, beef, or vegetable stock, bouillon cubes, and canned vegetables, are also high in sodium, unless the package is labeled as low sodium or no salt added. Condiments like olives, ketchup, salsa, and pickles also tend to be high in sodium.
Yes. So read the nutrition fact label. Look at the food label in your food and find the amount of sodium in one serving. When the food say or contains 20% or more of the daily value of that nutrient is too much. It's really high in that nutrient. In that case, for example, it can be salt. For example, let's look at this label. For example, one more time. Okay.
Yep,
Uh,
so here on this slide, we have light microwave popcorn. And like Anna said, 20% or more means that the food is high in
in sodium.
sodium, yes. So here we see that sodium is 200 milligrams and 8%. So what does that tell you? Is this high in sodium? Is it low in sodium or anywhere in between?
Okay, I think we had to look for 5% or less, but in that case, this 8% is like acceptable.
Mhm.
But remember, no more than 20% in your food label, okay, of any of these that we are looking to try to reduce, like salt, sodium, like fat, or added sugar. No more than 20%. That's really high. If it's say 10% or 8 is acceptable, but we should look for 5% or lower, okay? So it is important to remember that plant foods such as vegetable, fruit, beans, and grains contain very little sodium unless salt is added during cooking or processing. So here are some ways how to lower the salt in our diet. Limit salt when cooking, use herbs and spices instead.
Limit condiments high in sodium like soy sauce, ketchup, and barbecue sauce.
And use fresh or frozen vegetable instead of canned.
When you buy your canned vegetables and beans, choose the ones that say low sodium or no salt added.
And if you use canned vegetable or beans, pour out the liquid or unrinse before using.
And when you choose frozen vegetables, try not to purchase the ones that have the added sauces in them.
And taste your food first before adding any salt because it can taste really good without salt.
And instead of using the bouillon cubes, choose low sodium broth. Bouillon cubes are high in sodium.
And cook from scratch. This way you can control the amount of salt that you are going to put in your food.
And remember to always compare the sodium content of different foods by looking at the nutrition facts label. Buy the ones that are lower in sodium or buy the foods labeled as low sodium.
And now, eating less fat, sugar, and salt, those three can help to reduce the risk for heart diseases, diabetes, and some cancers as well. So to choose low fat, sugar, and salt, read the nutrition label, and let me share with you some tips for reducing fat. For example, eat less fast food.
Also eat less chips and other processed snack foods.
And choose non-fat, low-fat dairy food.
Try to grill or bake food instead of frying it.
And eat less cream sauces and gravies.
And here are some tips to reduce your sugar intake. So we want to limit our sugary drinks like soda, sports drinks, energy drinks, and sweetened coffee drinks. And we want to choose water often.
And we need to eat less candy and less sweets like cakes, pies, and cookies.
Also, remember to choose fruit for dessert.
And for reducing the salt, for example, eat less fast food.
Eat less processed foods. Cook your foods from scratch. Make them at home.
And use less sauces and condiments.
And when you buy canned foods, read the labels. Choose cans that say low sodium or no salt added.
Excellent. So thank you one more time for staying with us in this presentation. And please, if you have any question, feel free to write it down and also sit down with your family any moment and review these classes. Those are very, very important for our family.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone. Please let us know what you learned. We love to hear what you've learned from this presentation and ask us any questions. We're going to be on for another couple of minutes, so we'll have time to answer your questions.